everybody. Welcome to Git for Teams. So some of this stuff might overlap a little bit with the stuff from the last lesson. Completely fine. So let's talk about Git branches a little bit. I know you guys were just working on that. Let's make sure that we got a good conceptual understanding of how this works. So I'm going to screen share. So I have a default branch. Canonically, that's called master. Could be called anything though. It's just a label. And then I have the opportunity to make commits. This is like save points in games. So I make a commit, I make a commit, I make a commit, all in the same branch. So in code, that looks like this. KCD. All right, so I have an empty folder here, nothing up this sleeve, nothing up this sleeve. I turn this into a Git repo. How?
Get in it.
Get in it. Cool. What did that do? How does my computer know that this is a Git repo now?
To guess, it told Git about it.
Ah, that is a super good guess. That's not it though. It's actually way simpler than that.
Just created a local repository.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're definitely only local repository. GitHub doesn't know anything about it. No other part of your computer knows anything about it.
It put that little .git guy in there, didn't it?
Yeah, it put that little .git guy in there. So if I do ls, I still don't see anything. If I do ls-a, which will also show me files that start with dots, now I have this .git folder. And inside of that is all of this stuff that Git needs to keep track of all the different versions of my app. That's what makes this a Git repo. If I rm/rf.git, I don't have a Git repo anymore. That's it. That's the definition of a Git repo, is something that has that folder. All right, so I get init, have this empty Git repository. Now I'm going to make a file, call it favorite numbers. My favorite numbers, I like 1, 2 is pretty good. 3 is an all-timer. It's good for comedy especially. 4, hard to beat, man. All right, so we got our list of favorite numbers. And then I can, if I do a git status, I see that I have made no commits and I have an untracked file. So I stage the changes that I made to this file with git add. And now if I run git status, it goes, all right, I have this new file that's got some changes in it that we can commit. So I commit that change, first set of numbers. Cool. So now I have something with a commit. I can see that commit with git log. Cool, there's my commit. So I can add more favorite numbers, 5, 6, 7, it's in the Bible, 8, 9. All right, so I've added some more numbers. If I run git status, it goes, by the way, you changed this file. All right, I want to stage the change that I made so I can git add favorites. Add doesn't track a file. It's not all it does, at least. it says, hey, this upcoming commit, whatever my next commit is, I would like this to be a part of it. So when I commit, second set of numbers. All right, now we're getting somewhere. So let's say I do that a couple more times. Oh, you guys want to see a cool Vim trick? So if I do, say I put a whole bunch of numbers on here, I can highlight all of these and increment them all at the same time. Oh yeah. All right, so then I stage that. I commit it. Cool. And then I'm gonna do one more. Oops, something didn't like about that. There we go. All right, so then I git add favorite numbers, commit. All right, so now I've got 4 commits in here. If I look at git log, it's got these. These are my save points. 1, 2, 3, 4. First thing that might be useful to know, how do we like roll back? How do we go back to another commit? First, it might be useful to talk about how do I just see what something used to be without making any other commitments to what I want to do with it. So what we do to do that is you take a look at that git log, and you see these long, goofy fucking numbers after the word commit on each of them. That's the ID of the commit. Good news is we don't need the entire thing. We need like the first 3 or 4 characters in it. So if I want to go back to the second set of numbers, F5E6, we'll start there. F5E6. I can do git checkout F5E6. And take a look how that changed. I went from master to F5E6, whatever the rest of the thing is. Now, if I take a look at what's in my favorite numbers now, certainly not the thing that I just had. I moved from, come on. I was looking at that one. Now I'm looking at that one. And it tells you, like, by the way, don't do any work here. We're really just kind of looking around. So it says you're in a detached head state. You can look around, make experimental changes, commit them, discard commits you make in this state without impacting any branches by switching back to a branch. We're just looking around. That's really all that's happening here, is seeing what this code used to look like. We went from here to here. Ask me some questions about what I just did.
How many numbers from the ID of the previous commit do you need?
Enough to unambiguously identify it, but I think it needs to be at least, well, let's see.
Like more than 3, probably.
Yeah, so if I want to go back to the first one, 101, let's see if it'll let me do 101. Git checkout 101. Nope. It needs to be at least 4.
How often is this process of going back to an old branch actually something you would do in the real world?
Well, like, probably not something you're doing every day, but I'll give you a really good example. The other day, I couldn't find an assessment that I could swear used to be on the site. And so turns out it was in the database, which is a different problem. But what I was doing is I was going back through old commits trying to find it. It's like, was there ever a state that this app was in where that was listed somewhere. So something like that's a pretty good example of what you might do. Or, man, this file used to work. What the fuck changed on this? And so you might go back through earlier commits trying to find some other version of this file to see if it used to be different.
So follow up on that, in that example,
Yeah.
is there like a common way that people like compare the current version to an older version without just manually looking through it?
Yeah, it's called diffing, and that we'll call that a Git 201 or a Git 301 thing. So there is like a very robust way to do that, where you essentially have 3 panes, and you have the old one on one side, and the new one on the other side, and the combined one in the middle. And so then you pull them in like that. But that's probably.
I've used like diffchecker.com or something where you manually plug your stuff in. I imagine something
very
similar
kind of thing to that.
Yeah.
What else? So I'm in my wacky detached headless state here. I want to get back to normal. Git checkout master. Got spelled right. And I'm back. Full history at my disposal. So let's say I wanted to go back to some old state of the app. You know what? I poked around. That second set of numbers, that was kind of more my speed. 53E6, you say? Git revert 53E6. Oops. Is that it? F5E6. Come on, man. F5E6. Cool. So now looks like I've got a merge conflict. So if I take a look at my favorite numbers, check this out. I've got, this looks super cryptic, and it kind of is. What this is saying is, this is what you have now. After all those equal signs, this is what's in the thing that you're trying to bring in. All you have to do is make this look the way you actually want it to look. Git is saying, I can't figure out what you mean by this. You fix it. So I was saying, all right, this is the one that I wanted, the one where it didn't have all these extra ones because I'm rolling back. So I can delete all of this. And then after that, it's the same thing we were doing before. I stage my change. I commit it. And now I've rolled back. But I can still always go back to what it was here. 3EB3. Git checkout 3EB3. And now I'm right back where I was before. Save points. We're not actually getting rid of anything. Ask me some more questions about this.
How does reverting back affect like your team's work? Like if now you revert it back, yeah.
Outstanding question. So what I did here was I sort of pulled what I had over here and brought it in for a new commit. But really, all I did was make a 5th commit. So what your teammates, you want them to be like their branches to look like your branches. So if this is my master branch, it should also look like your master branch. If yours only stops there, then you need to pull down my other commits so you can get the latest version of the code. Once you've done that, you also have this entire history. You can get back at me by reverting it right back to what it was. But we're trying to get this same line.
Okay, so when you revert back, you could conceivably be doing it. That creates a branch, right?
No, creates, it's just another commit.
Like just like a separate. So when you roll back, could you create another branch, work on that for a while, and then either throw it out or merge it?
Yeah, you can totally do that. So let's say I want, go back to the master branch. You know what? I'm not sure that I do want, what is it, favorite numbers. I think I just like the evens. Well, we'll see. So I get checkout -b evens. Right now, evens is identical with master. But then I can say, yeah, you know what? Let's get rid of the odd numbers. And I stage that commit. I commit it. And now what I've done, now history is starting to change a little bit. Master is still what it always was. But now this branch, now this history goes through there. To wit, that has my only evens, the commit I just made, has my rollback, has all the ones that I made before. If I go over to master, it's got my rollback, all the stuff before that, doesn't know anything about my evens.
So trying to picture what this would look like in a real world context, would, if I'm gonna create a new branch, is that because I'm gonna mess around with a new feature or something, and I don't know if I'm gonna keep it, but whatever, I'm gonna keep tinkering with a bunch of stuff, and I want to let everybody else work with the real thing until I decide if a team decides if we want to bring this in, and then you bring it in. But like working on a branch is like experimental or kind of quarantining your work. That's kind of the purpose of it.
Yeah. So you might have one branch for every feature. That's one of the things I think Jesse's probably talking about in the last thing. I'm starting a new feature, so I branch off of master. I work on it until my feature is good. I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. And then when my feature is done, I try to merge it with master. And what happens in practice is that, all right, I have 5 of these features that different people are working on, and we start merging these. And it turns out some of you changed the same file in like some conflicting ways. And so then as you merge those, you just got to resolve the conflicts. But that's way better than what we did before Git. And yeah, and some of these things, they never go anywhere. You go like, this evens thing is stupid. And so you just abandon that branch and keep on trucking.
So how would the drawing look with the merging of files? Would it like go back in, or would it completely like erase the branch part?
Ah, great question. So what, if we're merging this, we go, never mind, evens was a great idea. Then what we do, it just becomes another commit. These become a part of the commit history for this. we still have this branch. We can still also like do more things with it and abandon those if we want to. But we have the option to merge this with this branch anytime we want to. And that would look like this. So right now, I don't have that evens commit that I made on the evens branch. If I do git merge evens, cool. And if I take a look at favorite numbers, there it is. And if I look at my log, it added this commit in. I still have that commit over at the evens thing. It didn't get rid of it or anything. I can make more commits here if I want, and those don't sync up or anything like that. That merge command was like, yo, give me all your commits. If I had kept working on the master branch, and the changes I made in evens don't agree with each other, it goes, you know what, Kyle, I don't know how to fix this. So you just tell me what you want it to look like. Here's all the stuff that you had. Here's all the stuff that you're trying to merge in. Get rid of the stuff you don't want. And then commit that. That's all merge conflicts are, by the way. It's really easy when you're getting started out to get fucking freaked out by merge conflicts. Like, what did I do wrong? They're not a big deal. You saw me resolve one earlier. It's just delete the shit that you don't want to be in the file. That's it.
So just to make sure I'm understanding, as we're working on like our project,
Yep.
and we're working on like a different feature, we should be doing those in branches. And when we're done with it, committing it to the master or merging it with the master.
Like, that's what Git workflow is. It's not the only way you can do it, by the way. It's just something that the fine folks at GitHub came up with, and it happens to be super sane. But there's totally other ways you can do that use other features and Gits. You'll find that one that in the 80-20, I'd say 80% of teams probably do something like that. Part of the rationale behind it, by the way, is that you want master to always work. Your like features as you're writing them, they're in like various states of broken as you're figuring them out. You want to keep that away from your master branch. And once you've got everything kind of figured out with a feature, well, then you can bring it in. And now master is never broken. So some part of your app is always in a stable condition.
So at what point typically do like teams in like the real world choose to now say, okay, like now let's go into our branches?
As soon as you start a feature. So for example, let's throw this one back. All right. For the Firebase site, I have a bunch of these going right now. If I take a look at the branches for this, I think No Styles is a demo I was doing for students. I'm working on user management. Like, we don't have a way to delete users or change their passwords or anything right now. And working on the ability to delete videos. So the first thing I did was I took master and I went, all right, I'm working on deleting videos. Get checkout -b, deleting videos. So I've been working on adding that feature, and as soon as it's done, I'm gonna merge it back into master.
So was master before just like the interface, like the HTML kind of situation?
No, so before master was the finished working version of the site. It's actually what you're seeing right now on the Firebase app is what master is. Deleting videos and user management both have some like new features I'm in the middle of adding. And then once I'm done with those get merged into master, and then master is what gets deployed.
So if I'm picking up right correctly there, you build a full app, at least an MVP, and then going forward, you would start using branches. You're not using branches while you're building out the first like.
Oh, absolutely. I totally did that.
You did.
I just deleted a lot of them on here, but if I look at the log for this, user can see a list of standards for a module. That was a branch, and then I merged it into master. Listing all standards for all mods. That was a branch, and then it, like each one of these things was at one point a branch.
So we should, like essentially, if we had like a boilerplate, we would open up our boilerplate. That's our master, and then we
Yes.
do our branch. Okay.
Yes.
That's
So
what
I
I was
was going to ask, so that's how you just clone it down from the repository,
Mhm.
as that, and then once you have it in your terminal, then you do the check,
Yeah.
and then
So that way, any one of these commits is a working version of the app. That's not the case with like, if I go back to those branches, the deleting videos one right now. This like that WIP updating width constraints, removing validators, like that stuff that was added. Oops, actually just the WIP is. This doesn't work right now. If I deploy that, the site's gonna break. I'm in the middle of working on that.
What is like the purpose of deleting the branches? Like you've merged it, like, and you deleted a bunch. So why would you want to do that?
So if I've merged this in, like pretend that I didn't keep working on evens. Okay, so once I've done this, master branch has all of the commits from evens. I don't need the branch anymore. It's just house cleaning. It doesn't hurt anything to keep it, but you can see on, especially remote repos, where they don't ever clean that up, and you go over to GitHub, and if I go over to some repo, so this one only has this one branch here. Unlike projects with a ton of branches, especially if they're doing feature branching or something, you end up with 1,000 of these branches, 99% of which aren't being used anymore. So that's why people delete branches. You don't have to though. It's just taking out your trash.
If you do delete a branch, can you like then like go up the master and like create a branch again? Like you realize, oh, actually, I want to like test this section out.
Oh yeah, you can totally do that.
Okay.
So that would be like our revert, or like how would you do that? How would you go back to like a part of the code and create a branch from there?
Depends. So if, all right, so I do this and then I do something like, all right, I've merged this in, get rid of this branch, I don't need it anymore. Have the commits. And I go, oh, psych, I want to go back to here. So I can check that out if I want to and just look at it. If I want the state of the code before that got merged in, I could technically check that out and then make a new branch from there that's based on that commit. That's pretty rare though, because you're saying I don't want all this future work that was done. That would be unusual. If you go, oh, never mind, the evens thing was a mistake, but I still want it in my history, then I can revert. Reverting is just adding another commit that takes you back to some previous state. You can also do a rollback, which actually deletes the commits, so you don't have that code anymore. That's a little bit more dangerous.
So what if you weren't sure if you wanted to revert back before the evens? What if you wanted to see like, oh, do I want to revert back?
That's what checking out an earlier commit is for.
Okay.
Is you check that out, and now you have the code when it was in that state. You can run it. You can do whatever you want to do with it. You can poke around, do little experiments and stuff. And then if you go, oh shit, this was way better than the code that we added in, then go back to master and revert the change.
Okay, cool.
Other questions about GIT?
Can you do a branch of a branch, or do all the branches have to come off the master?
You can branch to your heart's content. You can make a whole tree.
Kyle, I had a question so when you're working with like sensitive stuff, and then I kind of fell for this yesterday, the API encryption. Like in one of the past commits, like if you had an API key in there, how would you go back and edit that so that's like
Very carefully. So believe it or not, you're like not the first person who's ever done that. It's not something that Git makes easy to do. Because what you essentially want to do is wipe a file out of the entire history of like all your commits.
okay.
And so remove a file from all commits. There's a script that you run. Yeah, I'll get history. You can find just about any of these. It's this one. That one will do it. I think there's like BFG is a tool that people will use for that.
Okay.
And then, yeah, here's that command again. I've used this one a bunch. But yeah, you don't need to know what any of that is doing. Git is, believe it or not, a really fucking complicated piece of software.
Mm-hmm.
But you have ways that you can do that.
Okay, so do I just enter that into the command line with the specific commit?
No, just with the name of the file.
Oh, okay. And that automatically detects sensitive information in there?
No, so like it depends on where you put the file. So
okay.
If you have a file called my super secret API key, this would say my super secret API key, and it would just make sure that that file does not exist anywhere in your Git history.
I see. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So redone, Tony. I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh yeah. You can go for it.
So let's say like we're pair programming and we're working on a feature in a branch, and we're both like, all right, this is good. Like we're cool with it, putting this to our master. So we would do the git merge master. Mm-hmm. Well, we would do like our git add and all that. Mm-hmm. And then we merge it to our master, and then we push it to our remote repo?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So let's talk about that. That's a good tee up. So all of this stuff is just happening on your computer by yourself. There's no collaboration. We're just talking about all these different branches and commits and stuff we can make. So where the remotes come in, that's what's going to enable our collaboration. And I find that most people have kind of a faulty mental model for how this works. So we're going to go kind of slow. So this is Kyle's laptop. This is Naya's laptop. Then this is GitHub's. It may as well be a laptop. Like, there's nothing super special about it. It's just another computer. I push all the like commits and stuff that I've done up to here, and then Naya can pull them down to synchronize. The only thing that GitHub is really doing in this process is I can access GitHub and Naya can access GitHub, and so we can sync up through that. This is an alternative to me trying to like send the stuff directly to Naya, like email her files or something like that. We both have some third party that we can both access, and that's how we're synchronizing. I push to GitHub, Naya pulls down the changes that I made, and now we both have the same version of the repo.
So for this to like work perfectly, do you like, for example, like you and I, we'd have to be working on like different things so that I'm not pulling things that are the same feature that I was working on, but yours is different.
Right. So if I work on something and make a commit, and you work on something and make a commit, and then I push up my changes and you pull them down, those are the same thing. They're going to conflict. And you go, all right, I don't know which one of these you want to use. Here's Kyle's, here's Naya's. Sort it out. Delete everything you don't want. And that's how we would do that.
So how do you recommend, because that's something like I've been trying to get my head around, like how to do like the paired programming, because like in this case we're kind of like working on the same thing. It's not like a big app that like needs different features.
Totally. So Naya, let's do it. So I'm gonna push this up to GitHub, and then you're gonna pull it down, and we'll see how this workflow works. All right, so I've got my favorite numbers repo here. I go over to GitHub. And GitHub doesn't know anything about what's on my computer. So I need to tell it, hey, you need to make a repo that I can push up to this. I'll call it favorite numbers. All that does is give me this address that I can push to. I can take all the files I have in this folder, including all the stuff in that .git file, and throw it up here on GitHub. It's like Google Drive. So I say Git Remote Add Origin. That's saying I want a new remote repo. I want to call it Origin on my computer. And I can see I have this origin, and I can see that it goes to that URL that I just copied in. So now if I do git push origin master, I'm saying I want to, whatever that remote repo address is, it's just a shortcut for that, send it my master branch, if you'd be so kind. So then my computer does that. And now I have this up here. You'll notice it doesn't have my evens branch because I didn't push it up. I could. Say git push origin evens. And now if I refresh this, hey, I got both branches. Cool. So Naya, your turn. I'm going to put this URL in chat. And anybody else can follow along with this if you'd like also. Naya, why don't you screen share and we'll walk through this. So go to the chat window for Zoom.
You're still muted.
Okay, sorry.
There we go.
So the chat, where is?
It's when you're screen sharing, it's kind of hard to find. It's probably up by the top of your screen, and it might be hidden. You got to like move your mouse up. It's hard because I won't be able to see it.
Yeah. Oh Lord, can you put it in our Slack? It's like I cannot find it. Oh no, my phone.
Here it is in the announce channel.
Okay, thank you. So. Okay.
So the first thing that you want to do is, this is my GitHub repo. You can't make any changes to it. You can't really do much of anything. So you want to make your own copy of it that you can update all you want. So what you're going to do is fork this.
Also, I want to fork this, not like clone it.
So forking makes a GitHub copy of this. that's to your account. So a good way to think about this is actually probably a little different than this.
Not to derail, but say you had given Naya permission to edit this, then she
Yeah.
would clone it, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So really, this is forking. It's still in GitHub land. It's just something that she has permissions to do. GitHub is a social media site. Like, it's for sharing your code. And so if you see some of my code and you go, oh, that's awesome, I want to play around with that. Well, shocker, you can't update my code. It's my code. But you can make whatever copies of it you want. That's forking. So
Okay.
getting it down to your computer, that's the clone. So if you go over to the code thing, yeah. Exactly. Now go into your terminal.
We go in here. Where am I? Okay. I just put in here.
Correct. All right. Now go into that folder
No.
called favorite numbers. Cool. Now do an ls. Cool. So you have my file. Now here's the cool thing. Do a git log. Look, Naya has all of my commits. You can even go back to like, let's go back to third set of numbers. That's D937.
Checkout. Right?
Yep. Git checkout.
Git checkout.
Lowercase d. Yep. Cool. Now you're on the third set of numbers. If you cat favorite numbers,
Get.
cat.
Oh.
There you go. Hey, look, got a whole bunch of numbers there.
What does CAT stand for?
Concatenate.
Concatenate.
It's kind of a weird command line thing. So what you're supposed to use cat for is you can take a bunch of text files and print out what they would be like combined together. If you only give it one thing though, it just prints it to your screen.
I see. Okay.
All right, so let's go back to master. So do git checkout master. And now I want you to make a change to this. So open up the favorite numbers file and add a couple favorite numbers of your own.
It's like code dot.
Sure.
Please excuse my music choice, by the way, guys.
Naya, I don't even know what you're talking about. I
Really?
respect your privacy.
It was on my Spotify for a hot minute.
I'm sure I didn't see anything.
It was a rough time last night. I needed something to remember to get me back to 2008. So anyway.
I'm way too old to know any of that shit is, so not embarrassing to me, just makes me feel old.
No.
All right, add some numbers. Cool. So now stage and commit that.
So good status.
So that'll tell you that you haven't staged them. You can go ahead and do that.
So get.
Like, hey, you modified this number, the favorite numbers file. All right, so now you've staged it. Now make a commit.
So with the commits, is there a naming convention that people follow with the messages?
That's a really good question. So I would do it as, I don't know what the tense for that would be, but something like adds new favorite numbers. Some people will make that adding new favorite numbers. That's fine too. Adds is technically more correct with like how Git is working under the hood.
Because if I keep
either of those I'll live with.
because if I keep adding, because like my confusion has been like, do I say like I kept on adding favorite number like in my next message?
Jesse posited that we would be using the imperative, so add favorite numbers. So
that's completely fine. Yeah, don't overthink it. It really helps if you use the same one all the way through. So yeah, if you want to use imperative, that works for me.
So just saying like, if I just kept on adding, so just say.
Sure. If you're doing the same thing in every commit, or like Git 103 would probably be merging those. So so what you can do is you can take 3 or 4 commits that are all effectively the same thing and squash them into one commit. I would not worry about that in week 3 of your programming career.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
All right, so you've done this. Now I want you to push up your change to GitHub.
Say that one more time.
Git push origin master. Yeah. Cool. So if you go over to that GitHub page, your fork, and refresh it. Hey, look, you made the last commit. And if you click on that file,
yeah,
you can even say, there's your changes. There they are.
Okay.
So on our little diagram, we did all of this, and now Naya made a new commit and pushed that up to her GitHub.
Should I stop sharing so I can see your diagram?
Oh, shoot. No, you got one more thing to do.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it just occurred to me that you guys didn't see the line I just drew. Went from Naya's laptop to Naya's GitHub account.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So now you need to get it from your GitHub account to my GitHub account. So to do this, I want you to go over to that thing that says pull requests. And the easiest way I can describe this process is just click the green buttons.
Okay.
Yep. Just keep on going. Keep on clicking green buttons. Cool. So now what Naya has done is said, hey, Kyle, I know I can't just put code in your GitHub account. I can ask though, can I? I'm requesting that you pull in the changes that I made. So.
Oh, okay. So you can't just see it on your own, like, oh, now I've pushed things up and we put it back down.
I can, but like, I'll show you what it looks like from my side.
Okay.
Okay, so this is back on my favorite numbers. And all right, so Naya pushed from her laptop to her GitHub, and now she has requested that I accept the changes that she made. That's called a pull request. So then on mine, I hop in, hey, I have an unread notification. What, there's a pull request. All right. I go over to pull requests and I see that Naya has requested that I add in this commit. I can take a look at the commit. I can see what the files that she wants, or what the file changes that she did were. I can even have a whole conversation about it. I can go, you know what? I'm really upset about these blank lines at the end. Can you clean those up? And if Naya makes a new commit that doesn't have those blank lines, it'll automatically update the pull request. It's kind of cool. And so we can have a whole conversation about the code here. And if I go, you know what, this is A-OK by me. Again, just click green buttons to the merge pull request. And cool. If I look over at my code, oops. I can take a look. Where do they move commits to? Here it is. Hey, so I see Naya's commit there, and I see me merging it in. So we have like successfully done this. It's on my GitHub, still not on my laptop. If I say, hey, what do we got? I'm missing all those commits that Naya made. All right. I can now git pull origin master. And you can see that it changed this file. All right, well, what's in there? Hey, look, there's Naya's commit. There's me merging it in. So now if I open up that file, hey, there's all of Naya's stuff.
So does adding someone as a collaborator kind of eliminate that step of like them requesting permission to commit to the master?
Yes.
Okay.
And I imagine that would be more relevant if you're like trying to contribute to some open source project or something like that.
Correct. That is the like typical way that that works. So if I go to Lodash, so I can say, hey, what issues are there in Lodash right now? And it says, the code of conduct length needs to be changed. Okay. So then I might see this and go, cool, I can actually work on that. And so then I fork it. And now I can clone it down to my computer. Cool. Check it out. I have the entire code base for the most popular library in JavaScript right here on my computer. I also have the entire history of it on my computer. Pretty cool. So they had something in the code of conduct they wanted to change. So I go, all right, where's the code of conduct at? In the README. All right, so that's the link they want changed. So I update that link to good code of conduct.com. And now I have made a change to that. In like a big open source project, it's good to like reference things like GitHub commits and stuff. So there was, all right, so this was issue 4830. So I might say resolves number 4830. I've made that commit. I push it up. I've got my new commit, and I can go, yo, Lodash. Let me click a bunch of green buttons. And then if I keep clicking that, they're going to get a notification that I want to change their code of conduct link from that to that. And then everybody who uses Lodash has my commit. That's how software collaboration works. Questions?
Just a quick question. So like in like this kind of setting in like in a company, you just have one person spearheading the GitHub repo and then other people just fork it and then work it on their own and then push it. And is that how it works, right? Is that?
So think of it less as a person. You can have organizations in GitHub also. So for example, Develop Denver is an organization, and it is maintained by me, today's lunch speaker, Kim Schlesinger, and the administrator of Develop Denver, Michelle Bergquist. So we own this repo. We can do whatever we want with it. Other people want to work on this. They fork it, they make whatever changes they want to make, and then they PR it in. Honestly, even if I'm working on it, like I do that same thing. But the three of us have the right to review and approve pull requests.
Okay.
And so yeah, at an organization, you'll be at name.com or whatever, and you'll have people who are administrators for the for your organization, and they can approve those pull requests. And like, it's generally considered bad form to approve your own pull request. So even if you have like the administrative privileges to, you generally issue a PR and give other people on your team a chance to review it. And usually you want them to approve your pull request and bring it into the code.
Okay, gotcha. And so that, I was just kind of a little confused with like, if you add someone on your repo as like a contributor, do you still have to fork it, or can you just clone that down from their repo and then like, does that, I guess?
You can, and it's certainly easier to do that,
Okay.
but that's probably one you see less in the real world.
Okay, gotcha. So forking.
Yeah, it totally works.
Okay.
So I can say, I would like to manage access. Let's see. Nia, what's your GitHub name?
Sorry, I was on mute. NYARADZO.
NYA.
RADZO. There.
This one?
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Now Nia can like approve her own pull requests if she wants to.
Okay. But you said this was non-traditional, but
yeah, like, you know, it's good for like fucking around stuff like favorite numbers, or like I'm not gonna be disappointed in anybody who does this for their mod 1 projects.
Yeah.
But that forking and cloning and pull request process, that's what you'll see 9 times out of 10 out in the wild.
okay, because this would protect from accidentally pushing up to the master accidentally, right?
Exactly. Also, like, let's say I did make a good contribution to Lodash. That doesn't mean the Lodash team needs to like allow me to push anything that I want up to there at any time.
Gotcha.
The pull request process is like, cool, well, I'll take your code, but you still don't own this.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, thank you.
Other questions?
So I set my git push shortcut to origin master. How do you do that?
So, wait, you did it to always do that?
Yeah, like Ahmed last week or something told us if you just did -u origin master.
Yeah.
How do I do?
So you, I thought you meant like you changed that in Unix. That would make it so you couldn't push to anything else. So to have just git push, like that'll work for mine. I go over here. I can do just, oops, actually I didn't. Oh, it's because I set it over here. if when you just make a repo and like add a remote like we did with that, you'll need to type that out every time unless you do a -u. And now git push will default to origin master.
No, I know I did that.
Mhm.
But I want that because I don't want to accidentally push the origin like to the master.
Oh, you want to undo that?
I want to undo it.
Man, I don't know. I've never undone that before. You also could just type the whole thing out. You say origin my cool branch. But yeah, I actually don't know how you undo a default like that.
Okay.
I wouldn't lose too much sleep over it though. Let's see. I don't think there's anything else. One thing that you'll run into in mod 1 a lot is you'll get merge conflicts with your databases all fucking over the place. Those are unimportant. Because really, like your database, you should always be able to recreate your database with your migrations and seeds. And so like that file doesn't matter all that much. To stop the conflicts from happening all the time, you could do something like my database.sqlite3 or whatever. So I have this file in there. I don't want to make that part of my repo. So I can make a file called .gitignore like that. And that'll just take the name of a file. So I can say, or any number of files. There's my database SQLite3, my database.sqlite3, like that. And now if I do git status, it goes, hey, you got this new file, it's gitignore. It's not even looking for my database file anymore. So if there's stuff that you don't want to be part of the repo, that's how you do it. All right, anything else you want to talk about? Have at. Ladies, I'd highly recommend you go to that Lunch and Learn with Kim Schlesinger. She is the best. Elsewise, I'll see you guys around. Happy hunting.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yep.